Okay, I'm here. I got a lot of stuff going on here. I've just been always doing something new, and I'm doing something extra new today. I changed my whole format. I kind of went back to my original roots in doing live, and I do have a live shorts video going, it looks like. I'm not quite sure how that's working out for that stream. Doesn't look good in my studio, but whatever happens there. Something new I'm trying to do dual stream, shorts video and a regular live video. Today I'm only doing a live because it's freezing cold out. I've been bored, and I got up really early this morning and I just decided to put it all together. So I'm gonna record in 3D here, so I'm gonna get that camera going because that's a whole different camera setup and it's not hooked up to my live here. So I'm got a whole bunch of things going on today. Just gonna do okay, that's going. So I'm gonna talk real quick about the 3D. I'll link in the description. I forgot to do it for this video, but the anaglyph 3D glasses. They're the red-blue glasses like you get in the movie theater. Amazon, you can get them for $8 for like 2 pairs. I had linked them in one of my videos. I'm not quite sure which one it was now. It's just something new I'm doing. It's 3D. I have it recording right over here on the right-hand side, and I have my regular view right over here. And so I'm just testing out this winter. It's cold. I didn't even know if I was gonna get the grass mowed today. I don't even know what the temperature is right now. It's probably 36 degrees maybe. All the ice melted off the grass. So I am gonna mow today just because I'm just gonna mow. I'm still trying to do a constant 2 millimeters on the putting green, and I'm doing 8 millimeters on the Kentucky bluegrass. And it's probably not gonna cut any grass, but I don't really care. I'm just, bored and looking for stuff to do today. So I set this live up. It was a whole big deal because I haven't done this live before. I'm gonna put my drone up in the air too, because I'm doing some drone video for some future videos I'm gonna be doing later in the season, and some educational videos. I have my other YouTube channel, which I'm trying to get going. It's called Easy Green, something like that. I'll link in the description. I'm looking for subscribers on that because I plan to do lives on that one, but like do a 360 video live where I just kind of set the camera up in the middle of the yard when I'm doing mowing and stuff like that. And it's just going to be an entire different view, so I'll run like 2 streams dual. I haven't really put much video up on there, but I'm going to. So last week, if you were here, I did these brackets, and I've been talking about these brackets because I've been having a big problem with them. So I painted these, and they turned out really, really good. I mean, they're solid. I'm not quite sure how well you can see them. Nice gloss to them. They're really dry. But I did that last week. I ground it all down. I painted them and got them all set up. I'm going to change these out on here. I know I've done this before doing live, but you never get the same viewers all the time. So I'm going to show you what I did. Again, the issue I had with these brackets and why I'm changing them back. It seems like I'm always changing the brackets. So the brackets that I got brand new from McLean right here, that's where this is going to go. The metal is not the same thickness, and it's very, very important for the thickness of the metal to be right on this bracket, because this is a very important bracket for adjusting the cut height on the mower. And so, I mean, I've talked about it in a lot of my videos, and you know, in all my videos, I talk about some issue that I had with the McLean. I mean, I fixed most of them, and this mower works really, really well. It's a really good mower for a greenskeeper for the price. It's economical, and you're not spending 6, 8 grand, 10, whatever on a mower that will actually go below quarter of an inch, which most mowers, real mowers that cut short, only go to about a quarter of an inch. This here, I've got it going to 2 millimeters. So to replace this, it's just going to take a quick second to replace these brackets. If you see me do it before, I apologize. But I just need to do it and get it out of the way here. So what I did was I put this washer down in the let me change my screen here. Let's see. So I put these washers in down here, and I'm gonna add a camera on here. Let's see, maybe I got it right here. Quick second here. I didn't prepare very well. I'm just going to put this shot up here so I'm not constantly having to go back and forth between cameras here. I put these spacers in here. These are fender washers because these brackets are, I gotta loosen these. The metal is too thin, or it's not as thick as the. Let me just use my gun here. And the problem that it's causing is when I adjust the cutting height, the adjustment is always changing as I move and adjust the height, and that's a problem, especially when you're cutting as short as I cut. So I finally figured out what the issue was and why that was happening when I put these new brackets on. So let me see here. So if you see in this here, I don't know how well you can see it, it's thinner, and this doesn't move around as much in this bracket. In this bracket, it's all kinds of sloppy and moving. And that's a problem when you're adjusting the cutting height. It makes it so you can't get a consistent adjustment. It keeps moving every time you do one side, then you do the other side, and it just keeps moving, and it gets out of whack. So this is going to take just a second here. I'm going to get my calibrator here. Alright, so all I'm doing here is I'm just moving the bearing here from one to the other. It's really hard to do with these gloves on. My hands are freezing. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so that's one side. I'll tighten that in a second. I'm going to move to the other side. When I originally put these brackets on, I had only put them on because I had bought them, they were new, and I only bought them because I get free shipping when I buy over $50 worth of stuff, and it didn't make sense to pay for shipping on what I had ordered because I had to order a handle, a part that it broke, and it didn't make sense paying all that extra shipping when I could just get these brackets, and then now these brackets are totally worthless. But I got free shipping. Well, $18 shipping, I guess it was, since that's how much your brackets cost. Otherwise, the shipping would have been like, I think $30 is what they charge for shipping. Okay, yeah, so this is right. I just gotta make sure everything's oriented right. So I hope everything's going well with the stream as far as the way it's broadcasting. I have no clue if it's working or it's not working. So if it's not working, I apologize. Well, I'm sure you probably already tuned out if it's not working, if there's even anybody watching. Again, I just set it up because I'm doing this stuff, and some people might enjoy watching, others may not. Do a quick height adjustment. It's probably too far down. So I just got to put the adjusting bolts back in. They're going to be a little tough to put in because there's fresh paint in there, so that makes it a little tough, but I think that fresh paint is going to help it in the long run. As far as the threads go, these threads have a tendency to wear out from all the adjusting I do, because every time I mow I have to adjust it twice, or at least, I'm sorry, once, because I mow at 2 different cutting heights. I have my putting green that I mow at 2 millimeters, and then I have my regular grass, which I mow at 8 millimeters right now is what I'm mowing it at. And I'm only mowing it at that because I was doing an adjustment and I just ended up at 8. So, alright, so that's the connecting rod. This is basically the rod that tightens, compresses it together so it holds the adjustment. So right now it's in adjustment mode where I can adjust the brackets or the cut height. So I just gotta get my sandbag. So I have to tilt the mower back for this because there's no there'll be no weight on the roller. It's basically just the roller that we're adjusting to adjust. Because when this roller goes up and down, the cutting height changes. And that's what this is going to measure right here. So we put this bar on the back wheel and the front roller. Yeah, this is at 2. So I gotta, it's at 2 millimeters right now, so I need to raise this up. Let's see what this one's at. And that's at 1.3. So just doing these adjusting knobs here, and what these adjusting knobs are doing is they're just raising the roller. It's probably way too much. Oh, it's right about 8 actually. So that's 8 on the money. Oh, shoot, that's only 5. On the money. 8.7. I'm sorry, 8.07. .04. Actually 8.4 and 8.4 right there. So now I just need to tighten the rod. I didn't have these in good enough. I didn't have this. That's probably why I got a little bit of movement on it. So there's a collar that sits on these adjusting bolts right here, and the collar rides up and down in the bracket. And so I need to loosen this. I didn't have that collar in the groove, so oops, going the wrong way. bolts here too tight. This one right here. Trying to hurry, and I took a shortcut. Paid the price. Much better. Sorry, that took longer than needed to. So that took probably 5 minutes longer than it needed to. Normally when I do a height adjustment, it doesn't even take that long. So I got these out. There it is. So changing the roller is the same process, basically. You can actually get away with it a little bit easier. You can just take the bearing out. Right here, it'll slide out. Take these bolts off, it'll slide out. You know, loosen this rod here, and it will adjust. It will pull right off, and you can put it right back on, tighten it up, and that's the roller. You don't have to take these brackets out and all that kind of stuff. You just need to loosen it up a little bit. So I mean, I don't really need to mow. I'm just gonna do it, just to do it. What time is it? It's 1:53. I mean, like I said, it's been really cold this last week. I mean, I know it's cold everywhere. I know a lot of people are in snow and stuff like that right now. I mean, we got, you know, sunny skies, which is unusual for this time of year, but definitely cold temperatures. I really want to lay some iron down on my putting green and some nitrogen to get some color in it. I haven't put any nitrogen or iron on it in so long. It's supposed to warm up next week, and I think that with the warmer temps, it shouldn't be a problem. I think it will use it. I think we'll get some growth out of it. I mowed last weekend. Yeah, I mowed last weekend, and I definitely don't think we've got much growth. It's more about just cleaning up the stripes and stuff like that, basically putting those stripes back in and the lawn so it looks good. I just like my lawn looking nice, you know, through the time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set up my cameras here real quick for a mow. Let's see here. This view. All right. So just give me a couple minutes here. I guess I could put a video on, but while I'm doing this, I'm going to start the mower, get that all warmed up. I better check the gas, make sure I got some fuel in here. I'm going to add a little bit while I'm thinking about it. So because before when I did my live, I was using my GoPro. And I was having a lot of problems with it. I was having problems with it cutting in and out and all that kind of stuff. I thought it was going to work really well, but I finally gave up on it. I feel like the way that I'm connected now with my other cameras works much better. Seems like the connection stays on. Get another camera going here. I don't think that camera's going to come on. Probably gonna take a couple cranks to get this started because I had drained all the fuel out of the line. Cutting some grass. So along my driveway here, I had Monday off last week, and I built my planter up. You know, it had sloped off. And I made it level with the yard, kind of like I did with the other part of my yard. thought I might have had some rocks in it, but I did not. So that was good. I'm gonna move this down here. So the reality is, with doing all these camera reviews and stuff like that, I'm trying to figure out off to the side. It doesn't go up and down, so the stripes don't end up looking as good until you get them, get the camera oriented in the right direction. I mean, with the sun off to the side, to get the effect of the striping, you got to look at it from, the sun to your back, and you got to mow it in that direction. Because all the striping's doing is laying down your grass blades in different directions each time you mow. Up and down and up and down. That's why you get that striping effect. And then another thing, that I don't do is I don't adjust my cameras. A lot of guys that do videos and lawn channels, they adjust their settings on their cameras, or they mow, late in the afternoon when the sun's down, and they're all waiting for the right time of day. I don't do any of that. I mow when I mow, and I know how green my grass is. And I can tell you, I know when I do my mow videos and I put them online that the color does not show what you see visually through the camera. Now, if I adjusted my EV and all that kind of stuff, and I adjusted my colors, or I did it at certain times of the day when the light was right. I mean, I mow at the same time almost every day, and because of that, the sun is always really high in the sky. I mean, if I show you my grass in the shade here, you're going to think it's super green. You'll see it here. When I get over here, it looks super green because there's no sun on it. There's no light on it. And I'm not saying, other people that do their lawn, videos, that their grass isn't green. I'm just saying, they talk about, oh, look at how green my grass is. It's so green and all this. Look at it. I put this stuff on and it does this. And, and I'm not saying it's trick photography or anything like that, but the lighting has a big thing to do with how your video turns out. And I really don't care. I'm more about showing what the effects are of, utilizing minimal products on your lawn and why you can. I know it's hard to see my areas where I killed the POA with the ethofumicate, but it's coming back even though it's winter and it's so cold. The patches are starting to, I'm not going to say they're starting to look great, but they're starting to show signs of the effects that were happening on it coming back. And I'll point some of that out. Here, I'll show you. Look at my grass in the shade. spend very little money fertilizing my lawn. Most money I spend on my lawn is in this lawn mower right here. And if you're going to do a putting green, that's the one thing you have to think about. Don't think about any of the other stuff that you're going to hear people talking about and telling you. To me, having a putting green is the same amount of work as just having a lawn. You just have to mow more. You know, all this stuff about, oh, you got to sand at least, you know, once a month or whatever. The time I sanded it was June of last year. And, you know, that was only because I had cash. I did sand it in September, but I did a really terrible job with my putting green, and you're going to see it too, like all right here. I just had some spots the seeds didn't take very well. It was cold and rainy, so I just noticed my drone landed and I guess the battery went out. That's the nice thing about the drone is it auto returns when the battery goes low and it lands. So it landed exactly where it was. So that was nice. I got one more fresh battery so I can put it up to the putting green next. Let's see. This grass is not growing. And this being Kentucky bluegrass, it really thins out in the wintertime. I only thinned out. And that's what this has done. So that's what I've got going on with that. But you know, mowing helps when it is growing. You know, you want to mow as often as you can because it really helps your grass thicken up. You know, in the wintertime like this, when the grass isn't growing, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, it's amazing how thin the grass gets. For me, my neighbor Wilson, his yard, I planted a perennial rye over there, and that grass is still, you know, very green and very thick. And I'm not going to mow it today, but the real reason I mow in the wintertime is just because I like to mow. It's just, it's so boring. on that putting green. Put that right there. Change the battery in my phone. Stop this camera. So if you're thinking you want to do something in your yard, now's the time to really think about what you want to do. Learn about different grass types. Blends are the best way to go for, regular homeowners. If you want to get high tech with your yard, it's not difficult, just with a regular lawnmower. If you want to run one cultivar, one grass type, Kentucky bluegrass, perennial rye, tall fescue, turf type tall fescue, all those different types of grass, you're probably best off with a blend. I don't know where you are. I have some Bermuda grass that I have in the backyard that I grow here, and I live in Washington, and this is not an area for Bermuda grass because it's a warm season grass, and I only get maybe 5 months out of the year of growth on it. It's dormant right now, but I just started it and I just messing with it. I've never grown Bermuda grass because I never really got into all this grass growing stuff until the last few years. And then when I did want to get all high tech with my grass and making a great yard, I just was really disappointed with all the bad information that's out there. And that's what frustrated me. And that's just why I do this channel. I'm not looking to be any kind of YouTube star or anything like that. I just, show the progression of my yard through the year. I spend very little money. I'm taking care of probably, it's got to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 8,000 to 10,000 square feet of grass. Probably more in the 3 different neighbors' yards that I've been taking care of. And when I say taking care of, I've just been helping them out. I did 3 renovations. I have a 4th. Some people want to do this year, but they're going to wait till September. And the reason why is because they have 7,500 square feet. They have a really big yard. And it's going to cost money. Just for the material and all that stuff, it's going to cost a lot of money. So I kind of told them, I braced them for the price. And, we need to, level their yard because it's really sloped and it's got low spots. It's got a big dip in it. So I'm probably going to do that in September. Me personally, I am not a fan of doing spring or fall renovations. In Washington, it's not the same as living in other areas. We definitely get away with doing spring renovations out here because it takes so long for it to get warm. And even then, when it gets warm, it doesn't get crazy out of control warm. So, let's see. I think I turned one the wrong way. So most people will talk to you and tell you that doing a renovation in the spring is not a great idea. Almost like everything, I will tell you the opposite. I think spring, and this is Washington. I don't live in the South where it's hot. I don't live in the North, or where it gets really, places where it gets really humid. So That's why we can almost get away with fertilizing all year round around here, because it just really doesn't get that cold. Wait, what am I doing here? Oh, I totally screwed this up. Gotta pay attention to what I'm doing. Twisted it down, then I twisted it up. Adjusted for the putting green. So you just got to think about those things where you live. You know, when is a good time? The reason why you don't want to do renovations in the spring in some areas is because the temperatures get so hot. Why is this? No wonder it's so. I was like at 1 millimeter over here. I was like, man, this is really low over here. That's 2 right there. That's perfect. 2.06 and 2.04. Just gonna leave it there. Call it good. So yeah, if you're in an area where it gets really hot in summertime, you know, doing a spring renovation might not be a great idea, because if your grass doesn't, you know, fully develop and, you know, get a good root system going, the heat's going to come along and it's going to harm your grass. I mean, I've never grown in these areas where it gets really hot, so I only know what I've heard, and I'm probably sure that there's probably a lot of BS to that as well, but I don't know. So when I lived in California, I didn't do many renovations, but you know, California, you know, it's a pretty nice temperature all year long. You can get away with, I think, doing a reseeding out there any time of year also, and you can grow Bermuda down there for much longer. My biggest thing about the Bermuda is when it goes dormant. I mean, I have a very small patch. I don't even, what do I have, maybe 150 square feet. It's a really small patch. It was where my garden was, and I just did it to do it. You know, growing grass is really simple. The science in grass basically says it's simple. You don't need all this mumbo jumbo that people are trying to teach you about all these different things. You know, your soil's gonna be active. It's got microbes all over the place down there. You know, you pull, you know, a quarter of a teaspoon of soil, sand or soil out, there's gonna be millions of microbes in it. You know, this whole thing about bugs in a jug and, you know, not having microbes. If you don't have microbes, you got a real problem. And microbes are something that are continually coming in, composting. And whether you compost or you don't compost, even if you don't add compost to your yard's getting composted naturally. You know, there's organic material falling in your yard, whether it's leaves, you know, cutting your grass, you know, all these different things. You know, I just want you to know, so I have my mower set at 2 millimeters. That's so low. Oh, my camera went out. Did my phone die? Oh boy. Yeah, my phone died. Well, there goes that view. probably put a charger on it. I'm sorry about that. Thought it was fully charged. Let's see. I don't even know if that's charging. Doesn't look like it's charging. It should be. It's plugged in. Well, my only real point about microbes and how your soil gets fertilizer nutrients, because a lot of it is just occurring from just the organic material that comes from nature. And that's why you don't have to add a lot of different nutrients. Nitrogen is the only nutrient that really the soil needs a lot of, because it's basically what drives everything that has to do with your grass. Nitrogen is the driver. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my phone is dead. Sorry, I didn't know that. It's trying to charge. I could add a different camera over here. I have one. Sorry, I'm just trying to add a camera over here. I don't know why that's showing that. It says this is on. Yeah, that's just not charging. Oh well, I'm just gonna mow. Whatever's there is there. I'm gonna worry about all this stuff later. But I have my camera on my putting green, it looks like, so that'll do. So what I was saying about my, mower being cut so low, I have this exposed aggregate, exposed rock driveway. And I can't push my mower. Sorry, I'm just putting my drone up. One of these days I'll figure out how to get my drone on the screen. You know, my phone's not even charging. So like I was saying, I can't even push my lawnmower on the driveway because the exposed aggregate sticks up. It's too high. That is low. The putting green in the wintertime so low. So I'm trying to damage it. You know, a lot of things that I do to my lawn is I do it to try to damage it. You know, a lot of everything is about learning, and you know that's why I don't worry about my That's why I don't even worry about what happened with my reseeding and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I know it's going to take not very much work to get that back. But it's also and when I did it initially, I kind of just hacked it together just to see what was. Oh man, that was a terrible cut. That was crooked as heck. I just did it to see what it was going to do, what it was going to look like, and it turned out really nice. You know, I mean, it doesn't look the greatest right now. It's winter, but last summer it was. Oh man, it was nice. It's thick, full, and then when I did that sanding, and it wasn't so much any patching as I really I cut it with the vertical blades to try to level it and fill in some of the areas. Man, I have no idea where I'm at here cutting. And then I put some seed down. I was trying to grass back in there, and that seemed to grow in pretty good. But the bent grass really didn't grow in that great. And I'm kind of starting to think that some of it had to do with spraying tenacity, because tenacity will kill bent grass. And I sprayed it along the areas that I was killing to put in the Kentucky bluegrass. And I don't know if I planted the seeds early or the areas that I thought were going to grow back in, they didn't, because I did spray a lot of these areas where it's not growing. I sprayed all that area with tenacity, and I didn't really do a seeding to like do a full-on reseed. It was really just more of like a overseed, you know, a very light dropping of seed. It's just frustrating because now I got to wait until probably late April before it fills back in. And I'm cutting it so short that because it's not really growing that much, it's not filling in. But I have noticed that, in the warmer parts of this winter, areas where I'd spray tenacity and really seed too much. So I was really just trying to get the Kentucky bluegrass to grow in. That was what I was really concentrating on getting done. I really wasn't working on getting the Kentucky bluegrass to grow in so much with that area. So I just thought about this, but I have videos on my main channel of how my green looked, the year in review of the growth last year. And this year I'm just working on telling you to buy. You don't need them. And that was what I learned my first year of doing this. I was using all those products, and now I feel like I have way less problems in my yard because I don't use a lot of products. I use very minimal. So because of that, so I only have this camera to show what the final was. Uh-oh. So this is the bad angle. This is probably the better angle. Give you a better idea of what we're looking at. Fertilize. That's the biggest problem with people having weeds and disease in their yards. They over fertilize. Okay, so see all this right here? You can see all the dirt. So I had killed, and I have a video of it too. Actually, I had sprayed, and it's pretty much that whole area where you see. I had sprayed this all with tenacity, and I fill it in with Kentucky bluegrass, and I don't think I did a very good job. All this right here was sprayed with tenacity, and then when I seeded Kentucky bluegrass along the edge over here and through here, and I just didn't get enough. I didn't get it. I just didn't do a good job. It was terrible. All this area right in here was pretty much, you know, the same. And the reason why And my biggest thing with POA is I pull it. You can tell that's POA by the way it's coming up. Sometimes it's Kentucky bluegrass, but I saw some seed heads on this. And the way I can tell the difference between the POA and I'm sorry, not Kentucky bent grass, other than seed heads, is when you pull it, it comes out really, really easy because it has such short roots. And you see how it's got runners going all through there. Right in there. It actually might be bent grass because I don't see any seed heads on it. And I get bent grass in my yard because mowing, I just mowed the bent grass. It's got bent grass on it. Bent grass is a creeping type grass. So those areas that can root get into your other parts of your grass, and that's what they do. They root. So that's why I constantly use tenacity. And I maybe use it 4 or 5 times a year. I'll use it in the spring because that will help with the POA too. But you got to use it as a pre-emergent to get the POA from coming in. And uh, that's what I'm going to start doing in February. Is I'll start spraying more tenacity down, kind of as my pre-emergent. And then also I can come back in and I can overseed. Within 4 weeks of putting the tenacity down, it only has like a 4 week lifespan in your yard as a pre-emergent. So that's why it's so much easier to use that as a pre-emergent than it is to use, say, prodiamine or dithiopyr. I'm sorry, I said prodiamine. I don't believe I meant prodiamine. I meant I'm tired. Anyways, if you use a pre-emergent in your yard, you can't do any overseeding. With tenacity, you can because it only has a 4 week span, and actually you can use tenacity to seed and put your seed down, but you don't want to put it in again until after your seed has taken root and it's growing. You've got a couple of mows on it. So that's what you need to do. That's what you need to look out for. All right, well, I think I've done enough for one day. As always, tried to have a successful stream, but it never turns out that way. And for whatever reason, it doesn't really matter. It's wintertime. I'm just messing around with a bunch of different ideas of things to do. I thought my phone was charged, but apparently it wasn't. Anyways, that's it. My drone's landing. We'll call it there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.